Having loose textured hair is better than having kinky hair. That's just plain and simple. We're calling people out about wearing Afro kinky wigs, yet we refuse to even wear wigs with our own hair texture. You know what? If it's getting to the point where I can't even walk out of my house without laying my edges in, I know that I have a problem. Y'all are going to stop coming at people with the term nappy. If it's snatching your edges out, baby, it's not a protective style. People do not have to lay their edges in order for their hair to be seen as presentable. Hey guys, what's up? It's Cam. Welcome back to my channel. Alright, so in today's video, we are going to be talking about why 4C hair is the worst. We're going to be talking about why black women hate their hair and about how black women hate their hair. So, I have wanted to talk about this for a while because I've just been making some observations over the years, over the course of time, and there are just a lot of things that seem to not be adding up in the case of natural hair, in the case of black women in relation to their hair. So, I'm going to be exploring a lot of those things and a lot of those topics in this video here today. And before we get started, if you have not already, make sure you go ahead and give this video a like. Comment down below what your hair type is, if you even believe in the hair typing chart. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so you never miss another one of my videos. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my second channel. That is where I post all of my natural hair, lifestyle, and girl talk type of videos. And also, if you want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, you can follow me on all of my social media. Everything will be on the screen and down below. And without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So I decided that I wanted to stand up for this video because I just have a lot of energy and passion whenever it comes to talking about natural hair and black women, especially with their relationship towards their hair. And I think there have been a lot of things that have gone down in the last few months, in the last year, that kind of nod towards black women hating their hair. Now, I've always kind of been under the pretense that there are some black women that exist that just really do not care for their natural hair. They don't want anything to do with it. They don't want to learn how to do it. They don't want to style it. They don't want to wear it out. They don't want anyone to see it. So they hide it, whether that be through a relaxer, whether that be through wearing wigs and weaves and protective styles and things like that, straightening it, just anything that they can do in order to keep their natural hair out of the way, in order for no one to ever see it, and in order to just make it like almost like something that doesn't even exist to them and to the people that see them, to the world, basically. So the reason why I want to address the fact that number one, 4C hair happens to be a joke, in my opinion. I'll get into that a little bit later in this video, but I want to talk about the reason why black people hate their hair, or at least the reason why I feel like black women hate their hair. So I wanted to start with a little bit of analysis because I think it's important to just kind of add in some real life events that occurred that kind of point towards black women hating their hair and kind of backing up my argument in it. One specific event that I do want to talk about is Deyjah Harris. Now, I don't know if a lot of you guys remember this. It's something that happened a few months ago, but Deyjah Harris is the daughter of T.I., who is a rapper that is from Atlanta. T.I. was very popular in the early 2000s, and the reason why their family is well known is because of the fact that they had a reality television show. And also, T.I. went viral a couple of years ago for talking about how he took his daughter Deyjah to the gynecologist every year to make sure that her hymen wasn't broken. But we're not going to talk about that in this video. We're here to talk about hair. We're going to talk about hair. So the reason why I wanted to point this specific instance out is because Deyjah got on Twitter and was talking about how she really just did not like her natural hair. She really did not care anything for her natural hair because she happens to be a light-skinned woman that has naturally kinky hair, something like what we would call 4C hair. And she made it a point to acknowledge the fact that her hair type was very, very reminiscent of her father's hair type, T.I., who is somebody that is known to have really, really kinky hair, something that people would call 4C hair if we're going based off of the hair typing system. And so she was just talking about how she has a really, really deep-seated dislike for her hair, and that no one really taught her how to love her hair, and that she feels like because of the way she looks, a looser hair texture would better suit her. And a lot of people took this the wrong way because of the fact that since Deyjah is a lighter-skinned black woman, a lot of people were calling colorism. Now, do I think it was colorism? I think a little bit of colorism was embedded into the situation simply because of the fact that a lot of the times in the black community, black people with looser textured hair are more commonly associated with lighter skinned black people because of the fact that lighter skinned black people are more commonly associated with mixed race black people that are white and black and white, whatever you want to say. All of this kind of lines up in a chain reaction. If you want to talk about colorism, you have to talk about the fact that the black community tends to put lighter skinned black people, tends to put mixed race black black people and ambiguous looking black people or ambiguous looking women in general on a pedestal because of how light their skin is, because of the texture of their hair and things like that. So Deyjah's point was that she feels like she should have a looser texture hair because of how she looks. She hates her naturally kinky hair. She doesn't want to wear it out. She doesn't know how to do it. She doesn't know how to take care of it. She doesn't want anything to do with it, which is the reason why you mostly will see her wearing wigs and weaves and things like that. And before we get kind of out of this specific topic, I do want to talk a little bit about the romanticization of certain features on black women. Now, it kind of goes into the conversation of colorism as well, but just kind of like the fetishization of ambiguous looking women in general. Obviously, we kind of have that ideal black woman or what we want black women to be or want black women to look like, and that's kind of the romanticization of features that I'm talking about, where a lot of the times they have very loosely curled hair, they have light skin, and they have like a small nose, they have the big lips, they have maybe light colored eyes, and these are features that we tend to put on a pedestal, just like we tend to put people who have a certain skin type in the black community or skin color on a pedestal. We tend to also put certain features on a pedestal in the black community. We tend to be very, very against people having large noses, and I feel like in recent years we've only started being more accepting, if not popularizing, the fact that people have large lips. But when it comes to the romanticization of perfect features, I think it's also really important to mention the fact that along with those perfect features, along with the featureism, hair type has a very, very big role in that. And I don't think people understand the role that hair plays in a black girl's life, in a black woman's life. And I think it's something that is way more important than people actually make it out to be, or that people actually realize that it is, because it makes up a very, very large part not only of our identity, but of our experience as black girls and black women, especially growing up from a young age and blossoming into teenage years and adulthood. So the next thing that I want to cover, this is also something that happened around the same time a few months ago, is the situation that happened with Zendaya and Reid. If you guys don't know, they actually did a modeling or a photo shoot together where Zendaya and Stormi were both featured wearing an afro. And Zendaya got a lot of backlash for getting up on the internet, modeling and taking pictures and posting pictures of her in a kinky looking afro. People were livid. People were upset. People were not having, they did not come to play on Black Twitter. They were dragging Zendaya. And Zendaya is somebody that is typically or tends to be very, very praised in the black community because of the fact that she is biracial, she is mixed race, she is black and white, and she is usually somebody that has those perfect features that we tend to romanticize, that has those desirable features, and is a black girl that people tend to put on a pedestal because of the way she looks, because of her skin color and all of those different things. But in this particular instance, Zendaya, they were mopping the floor with Zendaya, and they were also calling out Reid for not calling out Zendaya or for not putting a stop to her wearing that afro in the photo shoot in the first place. And people were citing the fact that Zendaya was appropriating type for hair, and people were upset that Zendaya was appropriating this hair because of the fact that Zendaya is not fully black and that she is mixed race. But one point that I do want to make, and I must make this extremely clear, which is something that I feel like a lot of people do not understand about blackness. This is the reason why we cannot progress and move forward, because people do not understand this about blackness. Blackness, whether you guys like it or not, is a spectrum. It really does tend to be a spectrum. One, people don't realize that there are different parts of Africa and that African people are not a monolith and that they come with tons of different genes. But when you're translating that over into black people and the fact that we're also inherently mixed just because of the fact that we're in America and the transatlantic slave trade and all of that, it's a little bit of history, but we're not going to get into it. But people don't take into account the fact that black people are a spectrum. Just because you're black does not mean that you can't have loose curly hair. Just because you're black doesn't mean that you can't have straight hair naturally. Just because you're black doesn't mean that you can't have light eyes, you can't have green eyes, you can't have blue eyes, you can't have hazel eyes. That doesn't mean any of that. Just because you're black does not mean that you can't have light skin, that you can't be fully black with light skin, that you have to have a white mom or a white dad or something just because you're light skinned. Black people are not a monolith. Black people are not going to come in the same shape or size every single time. We don't all look the same, obviously. Obviously, we don't all look the same. And the same case is to go for mixed children as well. They don't all look the same. And if your mom or dad is white and you have another parent that is black as well, and you are a 50-50 split, or you're biracial, or you're mixed, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to have a loose curly hair type. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to have light skin. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to have a light color of eyes. It doesn't guarantee any of that. And Zendaya happens to be a mixed race individual that has light skin and that has a looser type of curly hair. But that does not negate the fact that there are mixed race people out here with light skin and 4C hair. Just like there are black people, like fully black people out here with light skin and 4C hair. So my argument comes in the fact that a lot of people, I think, are projecting their insecurities. They're upset that somebody can rock a 4C kinky afro with pride, when a lot of you who have 4C hair don't want anything to do with it and don't want anyone to know that you have 4C hair, so you constantly hide it and you constantly do your best to try and keep it away so that you don't have to be caught out with it because you don't want anything to do with it, whereas somebody that doesn't necessarily have that hair type is not afraid of being able to show that as a range of blackness. Now, there was recently this argument on TikTok. I'm diverging a little bit, but all of this, I swear, is so important. There was recently something that happened on TikTok with this popular black influencer who has loose type of curly hair. I don't know if I will be able to find the videos, but if I can find the videos, I will insert them here so you guys can get a better understanding of what I'm talking about.
All right, y'all, so I was just informed that there's a conversation going on Twitter about my hair, and I've recently been like wearing afros when I dress up, and I wanted to talk about it, but I also had a question, but I wanted to show y'all what was said and some of the things that were said. So this is the original post, and I want to say that she is 100% valid in how she feels, and everybody else is 100% valid in how they feel within the comments. So I didn't know what this word here meant, and I wanted to know, and I looked it up, and it is not a good thing. So one, I want to talk to people who have 4C hair or people who are knowledgeable about this topic. And please, if I am doing something offensive, which it seems like I am, let me know. If it's something that I am not supposed to do at all, please enlighten me, because it's something that I won't do anymore. I do want to explain why I bought them, because I don't want anybody thinking that it was a costume, or if it seems like that, please let me know and I will stop. I've been trying to embrace more hair types within the black community, coily, curly. Like I have this puff, I have this one, and I have one in another color, and then I also have a long curly ponytail. I thought that I was doing something positive, but if I'm not and I'm actually doing something harmful, please let me know and I will stop immediately. But I value y'all's opinions, and I really want to know. I seen this comment, and I really did want to say this because I've been seeing a little bit too much of this from my live to in my comment sections. Please do not call anybody with 4C hair that is upset about this situation dramatic. I think that their emotions and their feelings are very valid, because at the end of the day, those people live with 4C hair on their head. And I think that it's valid for them to think that, you know, somebody that doesn't have it, that wears it as a wig, could be possibly using it as a costume. And I think even though, and for me, that was not my intent, but the way that people perceive it may be that way. So, and I also do not want y'all saying anything negative to the person that made this comment. They go by they, them pronouns. So please don't say anything negative or harmful towards them, because this is something important and this is something that I agree with. Please do not say anything negative about those people with 4C hair that do feel hurt and offended by it. So,
but that situation is almost exactly like what happened with Zendaya. This black woman was wearing an afro kinky wig and people were very upset, but it kind of goes back into the same thing that I was saying before. Black people are not a monolith. Mixed race people do not come out one size fits all, and I don't necessarily think that a mixed race person wearing an 4C kinky wig is a bad thing, because I would argue that if you don't like mixed race women, black and white women, wearing afro textured wigs, then we should not, as fully black women, be wearing wigs that are not our hair type. If you don't have 3C hair, do not wear a wig that's 3C hair. If you got 4C, you better rock it, because at that point, I feel like arguments are negated when you start nitpicking at what mixed race people do. Because if that's the case, if you're gonna argue that mixed race people should not wear afro kinky wigs, we should also be arguing that mixed race people should not be wearing box braids as well, right? Wrong. With all of that being said, I do want to talk about the type 4 hair debate, because that is something that I have been seeing for a very long time that I think is the stupidest thing that I've ever seen before in my entire life. First thing I want to say is that I think that we should do away with the hair typing chart. First of all, because I think it causes, one, a lot of division, but also it causes a lot of confusion, mostly because of the fact that there are a lot of hair types that are not represented on that chart. But also what the chart does is it makes us pick fights between each other, whether somebody has type 4A hair. No, they don't have 4A hair. They have 3C hair. No, they don't have 4C hair. They have 4A hair. And it's just this constant bickering and back and forth about what someone's hair type actually is. And a lot of the time, we're just making these assumptions off of clips and pictures that we've seen off of the internet. Like, we're not the ones who are living in these people's bodies. We're not the ones who are having to take care of this hair. We're not the ones who are growing this type of hair out of our scalps. So who are we to tell someone what type of hair that they have based off of a clip that we see off of the internet? But one point that I really did want to make about this type 4 hair debate is whether the hair is 4C or not. Because I mentioned the fact that I think the hair typing chart is stupid and that we should just completely throw throw it away. I am curious to know what 4C even is, because everybody is going to have their different definition of what 4C hair is, and something that I could think is 4C is not something that someone else could think is 4C, and so on and so on and so forth. I feel like there are a lot of people who would not agree on what 4C hair is, but what I have seen on the internet and what I have seen people do, there's a difference between the 4C hair debate. It's people refusing to believe that they have 4C and refusing to believe that they have kinky hair, versus people who are baiting having 4C hair and baiting having kinky hair for clicks and views. And these two things are very wrong, both for very different reasons. Now, starting off with people that refuse to believe that they have kinky hair, I don't really know how to help them. I think that's just an inward self-hatred, and it kind of goes back to when we talked about Deyjah hairs at the beginning of the video. A lot of women refuse to acknowledge the fact that they hate their hair, and the fact that hating their hair is actually a form of self-hatred, because you're hating an aspect of yourself that you really can't change no matter how much you try. No matter how many perms you put in your head or relaxers that you put in your head, you're not going to be able to change the fact that 4C hair grows out of your scalp or that kinky hair grows out of your scalp. No matter how many silk presses you get, you're not going to be able to change the fact that 4C hair or kinky hair grows out of your scalp. No matter how many protective styles you get, how many wigs you get, how many weaves you get, how many braids you wear, you're not going to be able to change the fact that 4C hair or kinky hair grows out of your scalp. You're just not going to be able to. So inherently, it is a form of self-hatred, because it is an aspect of yourself that you hate, and it's something that a lot of Black girls fail to realize is a thing that actually exists. Wishing and wanting to have a looser type of hair or a looser texture of hair to make it more manageable, because what does that even mean? I think any type of hair is manageable as long as you learn how to do it and you learn the most efficient way to do it. But if you're wanting to have a looser texture of hair, you're yearning to have a looser texture of hair, you're jealous of someone because they have a looser texture of hair than you do, I think it's something that should be internalized and reflected upon and figure out why, because it's giving self-hate. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, it's something that you can't really change about yourself. Like, you have kinky hair and that's it. And in the case of people that are faking having 4C hair or kinky hair for clicks and views in order for people to watch their material, that's such a complex that I have not even fully figured out why people do. I obviously know why people do it. It's in order to get clicks and views. It's in order to boost their ratings. It's in order to get people to try and follow them. But it's really damaging to people that actually do have those hair types and that actually do struggle with learning how to take care of their hair, because you're providing false information. Aussie 3-Minute Miracle Moist is not going to work on somebody that has kinky hair unless they have the same exact hair type as you. But if you're posing on the internet to have kinky hair, how would that work on their hair when you're faking, when it's literally not real? So I think a lot of it is just a vicious cycle of, oh, I don't like my hair because I don't know how to manage it. Maybe I want to learn how to manage it. Tries to go and look up people, but there are people on the internet faking having this type of hair. So now I'm caught in an endless loop of yearning for a hair type that I don't have, or yearning to have hair that looks like this influencer's hair, or yearning to have hair that looks like this TikToker's hair, or this YouTuber's hair, or this Instagrammer's hair. And you can't have it because that is not the hair that grows out of your head, but because they're faking as if they have that type of hair when they don't, it makes it really hard and really confusing to learn how to take care of your hair, or to start embracing and loving your hair, surrounding yourself with people and surrounding yourself with content that allows you to embrace the type of hair that you have, and that allows you to go on a self-healing journey and a self-love journey and start to love the natural hair that grows out of your scalp. And I think that plays straight into the whole type 4 hair debate, and the fact that the hair typing chart should just be thrown away, because once we stop labeling hair based off of a curl pattern, and once we stop labeling hair based off of the size of the curl or the shape of the curl, I think it'll be a lot easier to find people and to identify with people that have similar hair to you, instead of saying, oh, I have 4C hair, and you might have a girl that has fine, low density 4C hair versus a girl that has coarse, high density 4C hair. Those two things are completely different, and maybe you have low porosity, maybe you have high porosity, but people don't like to get into that a lot of days. Now it's getting a little bit better, but beforehand it was really bad, and there's just a lot of confusion and division over the fact of whether or not people are type 4 or not, or whether people type 4 hair don't want anything to do with their hair and don't want to show it and don't love it and will do anything in order to hide it. So the next thing I want to talk about is edges being laid and slayed. The first thing I want to say is y'all are going to stop coming at people with the term nappy like to describe people that have 4C hair, because I will say this first and foremost: people do not have to lay their edges in order for their hair to be seen as presentable and to be seen as being upkept. Edges have nothing to do with it. And I think the normalization of laying your baby hair, people are really out here relaxing their baby hair just to be able to lay and slay their baby hair, something that is taking it entirely too far. And I think we've normalized having our edges laid and slayed so much to the point of where people are not comfortable leaving the house without having their edges laid, which is something that I personally had to stop doing. Had to stop laying my edges every day, because I was like, you know what, if it's getting to the point where I can't even walk out of my house without laying my edges, then I know that I have a problem. And I feel like if the Black community is not accepting of Black girls and Black black women who have kinkier types of hair and decide not to lay their edges, y'all continue to bully them and y'all continue to give them hate and drag them because of the hair that naturally grows out of their scalp. I think that's a big issue too, because it forces them to conform to laying their edges constantly, or it causes them to develop some sort of self-hate or resentment towards their hair type and the fact that their edges don't just lay with water and Ego Styler gel. And to me, it's a little bit ridiculous the lengths that people will go just to have edges or just to have baby hair. Those are not baby hairs, Miss Girl. Those are whole grown adult hairs that have been paying taxes since 2010. Like, please hang it up. People are cutting their real hair in the front perimeter of their head to have baby hairs in order to slick them. People are going lengths and lengths to be able to have baby hairs to slick them. Now, I'm not saying that it's not cute. It is cute, sis. Like, do your thing. But I think we should be realistic about the fact that not everybody is going to have edges. Not everybody is going to have baby hairs. Not everybody wants to lay their edges. Not everybody wants to have styled baby hairs. Not everybody wants to walk around with their natural hair looking crimped and polished everywhere they go. And also, why does having your edges laid and slayed have to be a sign that your hair is kept and polished? Anyway, I think it's something that we've normalized. And not having our edges laid is definitely something that we have demonized. And I say all of this to say that I feel like having your edges laid and having your baby hairs done up all the time has a chokehold on the black community. And again, I'm not saying that it's not cute, but I'm saying it's gotten to the point where most black girls cannot even go around. I was one of them. Most black girls cannot even go around without having their edges laid because it makes them feel insecure without it. It makes them feel like they're not together without it. It's almost like they see having their edges laid as a way of being accepted by society because it makes them look a little bit more put together, and they're afraid of being deemed as unkept or having nappy hair if their edges aren't laid. So the next thing I do want to talk about and discuss in the case of black women hating their hair is wigs and weaves. I feel like you guys already knew that this was coming because I have had generally a lot to say about wigs and weaves just because I feel like it's getting to a point where now it's no longer a protective style. If it's snatching your edges out, baby, it's not a protective style. If it is causing you to have to do more manipulation to your hair in order to get it underneath that wig cap, it's not a protective style. I think wigs and weaves, and I feel like I said it a little bit earlier in this video, but I think wigs and weaves was used as a scapegoat for women that did not like their hair. Now, I can understand if you want to break from your hair every now and then, that is totally fine. Slap a wig on. I tried my first wig a couple months ago and it was so great because I just had to wake up and brush that thing out with a paddle brush and keep it pushing. However, I got a wig that was in my hair texture. I got a wig that was kinky straight that looked like my hair texture blown out. So it still had a representation of me, but at this point, y'all are getting that 613. Y'all are getting this Brazilian wavy, and not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but so much of it only continues to pedestalize one hair type and only continues to promote the demonization of kinkier hair types. It shows people that we don't even like to wear our own hair. We're calling people out about wearing Afro kinky wigs, yet we refuse to even wear wigs with our own hair texture, and we do it for the sake of protective styling. It's not a protective style, sis. Your hair hasn't grown since 2006. And again, I think a lot of this comes from the self-hatred and the insecurity they feel within their own hair, and so they use the wigs and the weaves as something to hide behind, as smoke and mirrors, in order to not have to deal with their hair, in order for people not to see their hair, in order to not have to learn how to take care of their hair, because they use it as saying, oh, well, if my hair is always braided, then I don't have to do anything to it. If it's always braided under this wig, then nobody has to see it. If it's always braided and under this wig, then I don't have to face the problem or face the fact that I don't like my hair because I don't ever have to see it. And if I'm not wearing a hair texture that looks like mine, or that looks like a hair texture that would come from a traditionally black woman, I don't have to face the fact and deal with the fact that I don't like the way that naturally curly or naturally kinky hair looks on somebody that looks like me. Basically, so that I don't have to face the fact or deal with the fact that I have kinky, curly, or coily hair. And I think it's something that has been played up to a science, so much so that if you call any black woman out on this, even if you have good intentions, you will be dragged because people will accuse you of being a pick-me or thinking that you're better than a black girl because of the fact that you like your natural hair, because of the fact that you like to take care of your hair. They get very, very defensive. And it is something that I have yet to understand why, especially if somebody is trying to truthfully educate and truthfully trying to be nice and truthfully trying to help. It does not matter. And I feel like in the case of wigs and weaves, it has been such a struggle. Shackles. Really, it has been shackles. It has been such a struggle to figure out why black women are more comfortable in one hair type than they are in a hair type that looks like their own. And I think in the case of wigs and weaves, you can see we're further and further pedestalizing hair types that don't look like ours by wearing hair types that don't look like ours. And we're further and further promoting to literally everyone, the media, everything, that we do not prefer, that we we do not like, that we want nothing to do with hair types that look like ours. We would much rather prefer hair types that don't look like ours. Alright, so the last thing that I want to talk about in this video is Brianna Monique and mixed girl supremacy. I know it might seem very outlandish, but I want to tie up a few loose ends in regards to the mixed race, black woman, black girl conversation that we had a little bit earlier in this video, because I want to talk about this situation that happened literally around the same time. All of these situations happened around the same time a few months ago. But there's this YouTuber who was doing a vlog and basically talking about how she was blessed to have loose texture curly hair because her mom, a black woman, has very kinky hair, and she, as a mixed race woman, would not want to have to deal with that type of hair. I'm gonna put a clip in here if I can find it for you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited to use these products and see how they work. Also, my mom is black, so she really has, I was blessed with my texture and type of hair. My mom actually really has African American hair. Don't take this the wrong way, sis. My mama got naps, okay? And she be struggling trying to find the right products for her hair because she is natural. She's always like, you're just so lucky. Don't be complaining about your hair. I don't be complaining about my hair because I don't do much to it. But I will say I am super blessed when it comes to my hair texture because I be seeing my mama do her hair and oh my gosh, if I was her, I would have done the same thing and cut it all off. But she'd be wanting to cut it all off again after already being natural. She's like, it's just too much. And I'm just like, I don't know, mommy. Like, I don't know how to help me with that hair.
She has basically said that having loose curly hair is a blessing and obviously is more preferred than having kinky hair. Having loose textured hair is better than having kinky hair. That's just plain and simple. And while I would say that this is pretty common knowledge because I feel like a lot of black girls feel this way, especially considering the entire conversation that we literally just finished having, I think it's so interesting to put it into perspective and to have a mixed race woman say it out loud for people that don't believe that this is such a complex. I know black women won't say that it's a blessing to have loose hair, even though I think there was a very long era of black women and the debate between good hair and bad hair. Now we have to talk about the denial of believing that loose hair is better than kinky hair. And I will say this one thing about mixed girl supremacy. I think a lot of the times mixed girls like to say, especially in relation to their hair, that they were made fun of and picked on as young children by girls that were fully black and that had kinkier hair. But I think the real truth that might be behind this is the fact that black girls were projecting their insecurities because of the fact that these girls with looser textured hair were always praised. Whether it be by elders, whether it be by teachers, whether it be by boys, whether it be by other girls at school, the girls with the looser textured hair were always praised, and it gives them a superiority complex. And it's something that I feel like they learned from their mothers because, of course, like I just said, there was the whole good hair, bad hair debate only a little while ago, and it's something that we've just gotten over. And so if these girls are at home telling their kids, oh, you have good hair, meanwhile they themselves have kinky hair, they have 4C hair, they have type 4 hair in general, then they're implicating that good hair is the silky, loosely curly type of hair. Good hair is the hair that does not look like my hair. And if you're continuing to project that on kids, obviously they're going to absorb it and continue to project it, especially when they get hurt, whether they get rejected by that boy, whether they are denied friendship by that girl, whether they're told that they're ugly or told that their hair is messy or told that their hair is nappy. They're going to obviously internalize that, and it's going to be something that becomes a complex and something that they have to live and grow up with. Now, in terms of mixed girl supremacy, like I said before, it continues to push a pedestalization of a certain type of hair type, the loose, silky hair type, and it continues to give these girls a perceived superiority over people that have a kinkier hair type than them. And they go on to say things such as, oh, having loose curly hair is a blessing, or having loose curly hair is better than having kinky hair. And I think it's something that we're all trying to unlearn while simultaneously not facing the fact that we ourselves as a black community continue to put these hair types on pedestals. We ourselves as a black community continue to show the media that we don't want anything to do with natural hair. As much as people say that they're for the natural hair movement, as much as people say that they want everyone to love their natural hair, we still make fun of kinky girls. We still make fun of girls that have kinky hair. We still make fun of girls that don't do their edges. We still make fun of girls who don't have that romanticized, idealized hair type. And I don't think that we're ever going to be able to move past the black women hate their hair hair debate or the black women hate their hair phase unless we come to a conclusion and do something about the fact that black women refuse to actually embrace their hair and put hair that traditionally looks like theirs on a pedestal instead of hair that doesn't. Alright you guys, so that was the end of this video. I hope it was not too long. This is one of my longer videos, but it is clearly something that I really wanted to talk about and wanted to talk about for a long time and really enjoyed actually talking about. So I would love to know what you guys think about this video. Comment down below any other opinions you have about black women hating their hair, about 4C hair being the worst. Anything you want to say, let it loose in the comments. I just love to engage with you guys down there and hear what you have to say. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video. It just lets me know that you like videos like this and that you want to see me continue to post videos like this. And if you haven't already, oh my gosh, if you have not already, make sure you're subscribed to my channel down below, as well as click the notification bell so you don't miss whenever I post my new videos. And also don't forget to subscribe to my second channel. That is where I post all my natural hair, lifestyle, and girl talk type of content. And if you want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, you can follow me on all my social media, my Instagram, my spam account, my TikTok. Everything will be on the screen and linked down below. And yeah, that is it. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.